Manchester United were robbed of 3 points earlier this season, and now referee chief Howard Webb has confirmed it. Gary Neville has bit back at Ruben Amorim over his recent comments, which I partly agree with, but not really. Carlos Baleba, it's time to take a look at him, United's top target in the summer. It's been a pretty dreadful start to the season for him, so we're going to look into how bad it's actually been and whether United should move on next summer. And finally, there's a little loan watch for you. Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Hojlund, seriously making waves away from United, so we'll have a little talk about that as well. Welcome back to Turk Talks FC. Please subscribe to the channel for daily United roundups, match coverage, like the video, comment how you would rate United's season so far out of 10. Let me know. Let's get a conversation going. But let's get into today's roundup. And first of all, here we go again. So Howard Webb has apologised to Manchester United for something that we all knew was wrong within 30 seconds of it happening at Brentford. Howard Webb has admitted a huge error to Manchester United, and this was obviously the Nathan Collins red card. Bryan Mbeumo about to tap it in to make it 2-2 from 2-0 down. Nathan Collins brings him down in the penalty box. United get a penalty after a 3-minute VAR check, but Nathan Collins isn't red carded, even though he has quite clearly denied a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Now, the reasoning at the time was because Bryan Mbeumo wasn't under control of the ball. He wasn't in control of the ball because Nathan Collins had taken him to the ground. And even if he didn't get taken down by Nathan Collins, he would have only needed one touch to put it into the net. He wouldn't have had to get the ball under control anyway. So it was farcical at the time. And now Howard Webb has admitted that it was wrong. And this is what the report says from the Daily Mail. He acknowledged in a private meeting with United. He hasn't apologised publicly. No, not publicly. United had to reach out to PGMOL for an apology and an acknowledgement of the mistake. United obviously were fuming after the game because it was a 3-1 defeat, what could have been realistically a win. Probably would have been a win. And Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, got in touch with Howard Webb, and he has acknowledged that there was a clear mistake by the referee Craig Pawson, but also the VAR. United appreciate Webb's honesty and transparency in acknowledging the mistake, but again, it's just we're here again where, as I say, we all knew it was a red card the moment it happened. The only people who didn't think it was a red card were the people in control. Craig Pawson, the referee, and the incompetent idiot sat in a VAR box in Stockley Park. As I say, United were crap at Brentford, but United probably would have gone and won the match. 2-1 down. If Mbeumo scores that, 2-2, 20 minutes to go, United probably come back. And if he is taken down by Collins and Collins is red carded, and then Bruno doesn't have to wait 3, 4, 5 minutes to take his penalty and he scores it 2-2 against 10 men, United probably go and win the match. I'm sick of not just United but Premier League football clubs being robbed by these incompetent idiots in charge, and all we get is an apology a few weeks later. You know, not even a point, not 3 points for the mistake. No. If referees just did their job properly, that we would have got the point or 3 points. We get an apology. Brilliant. Really helpful. Why not a public apology? Why did United have to contact Howard Webb to get that acknowledgement? It just stinks. It's not getting any better. Now, Gary Neville, Ruben Amorim. This is on the back of Amorim's comments before the Sunderland game, where he essentially blamed the media for getting into his players' heads. The media saying that his system's the problem, the system doesn't work. And Ruben Amorim essentially said, listen, my players are listening to you. Because you're saying this, it's getting inside their heads that the system is the problem. And that's why United's, that's why we've got the Brentfords and the Man Cities and those sorts of results. But Gary Neville isn't having any of it. He said, I've not got a lot of time for that. If pundits are getting into your heads, then you shouldn't be playing for the club. He went and compared when he was breaking through United as a young player, the class of 92, and Alan Hansen, a big centre-back at the time, one of England's, in English football, one of the best. And obviously, you can't win anything with kids comment. Gary Neville said it didn't affect them. They just got on with it because they were playing for Manchester United. It comes with the territory. You've got to step up. Now, on one hand, little spoiler for you there. I agree with Neville. If you sign for Manchester United, you know what you're joining. You know, you're joining the most scrutinised club in the country by a distance. Players they can just not look at social media, right, and get on with their jobs. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of United fans turned on Alejandro Garnacho at the end of his United career was because of his social media activity and his pettiness on social media, as well as his very irritating brother, who Chelsea have now inherited, thank God. But on the other hand, it's easier said than done, because especially with younger players these days, it's just they're always on Instagram, they're probably on X as well, TikTok. I think it's important to note that social media criticism wasn't a thing when Gary Neville played football. So I do rate the way that Gary Neville isn't really letting any excuses fly, because let's be honest, for Amorim, getting his 20th win in his 50th match at Manchester United is not acceptable whatsoever. It's horrendous. So no excuses there, putting it bluntly. But I do feel like a lot of these pundits these days, they base their opinion on what football was like when they played, and it's a completely different environment. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. But now Carlos Baleba. Now obviously he was the talk of the town in the summer. Are you a Baleba? Are you not? United didn't get him in the end. Brighton wanted over £100 million. United went for Sesko instead. And we didn't sign a midfielder. Maybe a mistake. Probably a mistake in hindsight. Sesko's doing well. I like Sesko. But Baleba, it was expected that United go back in for him next summer or even in January, because, it seemed like Baleba was up for the move. United were basically said to him, listen, we can't afford you this summer. We will be back for you. United will sign a midfielder next year. But Baleba's performances this season, I mean, look at that. That's his appearances. He's not been good. He really hasn't been good this season. And you look at this, the minutes he's played. So he started 6 of Brighton's 7 Premier League games, but hooked at half-time against Everton, hooked at half-time against Tottenham, hooked at half-time against Wolves. He hasn't actually finished a match yet. He came on as a substitute against Bournemouth and still got booked. Like, he really hasn't been good this season. And Fabian Hurtler, the Brighton manager, he's come out actually and he's said, he sort of suggested that the Manchester United noise has been affecting Carlos Baleba's performances. And my main concern here is, yeah, fine, is his head already in Manchester already? He's clearly unsettled by the noise that has dominated the final stages of the summer. But my concern is, if you can't handle that noise while you're playing for Brighton, with all due respect, how on earth is Carlos Baleba going to handle the noise playing in midfield for Manchester United? That's a big worry for me. We need strong heads in this dressing room at the moment. And is there a bit of immaturity there right now? Now, this could play in United's favour. Is there a cheaper deal to do in January? Maybe Brighton are looking at this right now and saying, right, we don't want his stock to plummet lower for next summer. Maybe we do just try and get rid of him in January. It's a win for all parties. Fine. Because United kind of do need to go for midfield reinforcements in January. I think the start of the season has proven we need legs in midfield. We knew that in the summer anyway, and we went for, Sesko. And we addressed the attack, which is fine, but we needed a midfielder. The money wasn't there. It is what it is. But, as I say, concerns about Baleba's mentality. Or is he simply not good enough as last season's performances suggested? That's another sort of thing to think about. I think it's the former, but anyway. And finally, a loan watch. Rasmus Hojlund has just scored again. He's really coming into his own at Napoli. Last night, Kevin De Bruyne with the ball in the box. And Gieser had a fierce shot. The keeper saved it. And Rasmus Hojlund, as you can see there, he was in the right place, right time, foxed in the box, slotting home. It was another big goal as well. It was the second goal. Napoli were 1-0 down against Genoa at home. They won 2-1. Hojlund scored the winner, and they're now top of Serie A. Rasmus Hojlund has now scored 5 goals in 8 games this season for club and country, including 3 in the last 2 for Napoli. He scored twice in the Champions League in midweek. And when you consider those midweek goals, first of all, running a through ball from De Bruyne, running through, and then on the one-on-one situation, slotting it past the keeper really confidently. And then the second goal, it was a flick-on header. And then you add that to the tap-in, well, not a tap-in, but, right place, right time goal today, a poacher's finish. He's adding different goals to his game. It looks like he is, and that's what United sorely missed from him last season. We didn't get enough from Hojlund, and it was, backing into defenders, just really ineffective. He's thriving, and I'm happy for him. I really am. And Marcus Rashford, another player who is thriving at Barcelona. I would say he's loving life at Barcelona, but they did get absolutely battered 4-1 by Sevilla yesterday. However, he did score as well. Pedri, 1 possession in the midfield, put in a really nice in-swinging cross, and Marcus Rashford was there at the back post. A beautiful left-footed volley out the sky. Keeper had no chance, smashed it home. Really, really good goal, and a goal of a player with serious confidence. And look at Marcus Rashford's form. 8 goals and assists in his last 7 games for Barcelona. 3 goals, 5 assists. He's not just scoring goals, but he's creating them as well. He's shining as a creative outlet in Hansi Flick's side. And realistically, this is only going one way. Fabrizio Romano reports that it is very likely that Rasmus Hojlund and Marcus Rashford will be joining Napoli and Barcelona permanently at the end of the season. Now, in doing that, United will be bringing in around 44 million for Hojlund and around 26 million for Marcus Rashford. So 70 million plus the saved wages this season. It definitely takes it around 90 million. It's not terrible given the circumstances they left in. Hojlund was damaged goods. He wanted to stay. United wanted to get rid of him. Marcus Rashford, his United career was quite clearly over. So overall 80-90 million, it's pretty good business, and it will help United next summer. But obviously, if they continue at their current rates, both of those deals will prove to be pretty good bargains for Napoli and Barcelona. But I think it is just the best for all parties. So that's all for the roundup today. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. It means a lot. Like and share the video, and comment whether you still want Carlos Baleba to come to Manchester United. Are you still a Baleba or not? Let me know. I'll catch you tomorrow.